Elara had always been different. Growing up in the quiet, predictable town of Oakhaven, her mind hummed with thoughts that weren't her own. Fragments of conversations, fleeting emotions, the anxieties of the cashier at the grocery store, a constant, overwhelming symphony played inside her head. Her parents, bless their oblivious hearts, dismissed it as an overactive imagination. They couldn't fathom the truth. Elara was a telepath, perhaps the last of her kind. One day, while hiding in the sprawling, neglected woods behind her house, trying to escape the cacophony, she stumbled upon it, a shimmering, almost invisible barrier. Curiosity, and perhaps a subconscious pull, drove her forward. As her hand reached out, the barrier parted, revealing a path she'd never seen before. It led into a valley bathed in perpetual twilight, where towering trees whispered secrets in a language she instinctively understood. At the heart of the valley stood Aetheria, a school unlike any she could have imagined. Buildings of obsidian and quartz spiraled towards the sky, connected by bridges of pure light. Students in robes of vibrant colors hurried between classes, their faces alight with purpose. But beneath the beauty, a sense of unease lingered, a silent tension that resonated with the loneliness she'd carried her entire life. She was discovered almost immediately. A stern-faced woman with silver hair pulled back in a severe bun, identified as headmistress Lyra, approached her. Lyra's mind was a fortress, impenetrable and cold. "Elara," she said, her voice echoing with ancient power, "we have been expecting you." Elara learned she was the last known telepath, a lineage thought extinct for centuries. Her first few weeks were a blur of overwhelming sensory input and rigorous training. She was assigned a mentor, a quirky and eccentric potion master named Professor Thistlewick, whose mind was a delightful chaos of bubbling formulas and half-remembered rhymes. Thistlewick, despite his absent-mindedness, possessed a keen intuition. He sensed Elara's fear and loneliness, and his patience became her anchor in the storm. "Magic," he would say, stirring a cauldron filled with swirling colors, "is like a delicate flower." He helped her learn to control her abilities, to filter the noise, to focus on specific minds. He also told her about the telepaths of old, powerful seers and diplomats, revered for their ability to bridge divides and avert wars. Their downfall, he hinted, was a betrayal from within. Among the students, Elara felt like an alien. They regarded her with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. Her telepathy, once a burden, now felt like a target painted on her back. She longed for connection, but the fear of exposing herself, of being judged, kept her isolated. Kaylin's mind was a fortress, similar to Headmistress Lyra's, guarded and impenetrable. Seraphina, on the other hand, was an open book, her thoughts as bright and playful as her animal forms. Their initial encounter was rocky. Kaylin distrusted her abilities, viewing them as an invasion of privacy. Seraphina, however, was fascinated, peppering Elara with questions about what it was like to hear other people's thoughts. Slowly, cautiously, a friendship began to form. Seraphina's warmth chipped away at Elara's fear, and Kaylin, despite his reservations, found himself drawn to Elara's quiet strength. As Elara delved deeper into her training, she began to uncover secrets about Aetheria, secrets that hinted at a darkness lurking beneath the surface. She started having disturbing visions, fragmented images of a shadowed figure wielding immense power, a figure that seemed to be manipulating events within the school. These visions were always accompanied by a sharp, piercing pain in her head, as if someone was actively trying to suppress her abilities. She shared her concerns with Thistlewick, who listened intently, his brow furrowed with worry. They were a faction of telepaths who sought to control the minds of others, to reshape the world in their image. They were responsible for the downfall of our kind. I thought they were gone, eradicated centuries ago. But perhaps they are still lurking, waiting for an opportunity to rise again. He warned her to be careful, to trust no one. But Elara knew she couldn't ignore her visions. The fate of Aetheria, perhaps even the world, might depend on her. She confided in Kaylin and Seraphina, and together, they formed a secret alliance. Their investigation led them to a hidden chamber beneath the library, where they discovered ancient texts detailing the Order of Shadows and their dark practices. They also found a powerful artifact, a crystal skull that amplified telepathic abilities, but at a terrible cost. It slowly eroded the user's sanity. The more they learned, the more dangerous their situation became. They were being watched. Shadows lurked in the corridors. Whispers followed them in the hallways. Alara felt the constant pressure of someone trying to invade her mind, a relentless probing that left her exhausted and vulnerable. She was found unconscious in the courtyard, her shape-shifting abilities suppressed, her mind locked away. Kalen, enraged, swore vengeance. He channeled his earth magic, causing the ground to tremble, the very foundations of Aetheria to shake. Alara, devastated by Seraphina's condition, knew they were running out of time. She had to confront the person behind the attacks, the one manipulating events from the shadows. With Kalen by her side, she confronted Headmistress Lyra. Alara had always sensed a coldness in Lyra, a detachment that bordered on cruelty. Lyra didn't deny the accusations. She revealed herself as a descendant of the Order of Shadows, a secret society dedicated to restoring telepathic dominance. She believed Alara's arrival was a sign, an opportunity to rebuild their power. She intended to use the crystal skull to amplify Alara's abilities, to turn her into a weapon, a puppet of the Order. "You cannot stop me, Alara," Lyra said, her eyes glowing with malevolent energy. "Your kind is destined to rule. Embrace your power, embrace your destiny." She wouldn't become a tool of manipulation, a harbinger of darkness. She would honor the legacy of the telepaths, who used their abilities for good, for understanding, for peace. A telepathic battle ensued, a clash of wills that shook Aetheria to its core. Lyra, amplified by the crystal skull, unleashed a torrent of mental energy, trying to overwhelm Alara's mind, to break her spirit. Alara, drawing on her training, on her friendship with Kalen and Seraphina, on the memory of Thistlewick's kindness, fought back. Kalen, meanwhile, battled Lyra's enchanted guards, using his earth magic to create barriers and hurl boulders. He fought with a ferocity born of loyalty and love, determined to protect Alara at all costs. The battle raged on, the fate of Aetheria hanging in the balance. In a moment of clarity, Alara realized Lyra's weakness. The crystal skull, while amplifying her power, was also slowly driving her mad. Her thoughts were fragmented, her emotions unstable. Alara focused her telepathy, not on attacking, but on understanding. She saw the seeds of the Order of Shadows' corruption, the belief that telepathy was a weapon to be wielded, not a gift to be shared. Instead of fighting back, Alara offered Lyra compassion. She showed her the memories of the telepaths who had used their abilities to heal, to inspire, to connect. She showed her the potential for telepathy to bridge divides, to create understanding, to build a better world. Lyra, overwhelmed by Alara's empathy, faltered. The crystal skull slipped from her grasp, shattering on the floor. Lyra, stripped of her power, was left with the realization of her mistakes. She had been blinded by ambition, consumed by a desire for control. She had almost destroyed everything she had sworn to protect. She surrendered, accepting the consequences of her actions. With Lyra defeated, the Order of Shadows crumbled. Their influence within Aetheria was eradicated. Their dark practices exposed Seraphina, freed from her mental prison, slowly recovered her shape-shifting abilities. Aetheria began to heal. The shadows receding, the light returning. She could embrace her destiny as a leader, a beacon of hope for her kind, or she could return to the quiet life she had known, leaving the world of magic behind. But she knew she couldn't turn her back on Aetheria, on her friends, on the potential for good that lay within her abilities. She chose to stay, to help rebuild the school, to teach others about the true meaning of telepathy. She established a new curriculum, focusing on empathy, communication, and the responsible use of telepathic abilities.